In a world where being nice often means being forgotten, what does it really take to be respected? Kindness is a virtue, but without strength, it becomes your downfall. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the truth that few dare to speak. If you've ever felt invisible, if you've ever wondered why good intentions aren't enough, kindness is a virtue, but without strength, it becomes your downfall. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the truth that few dare to speak. If you've ever felt invisible, if you've ever wondered why good intentions aren't enough, why being nice isn't enough, and how to truly win respect, you're tired. Maybe you don't even know exactly why, but you feel it, like you're carrying some invisible weight. As if it's your responsibility to keep everything balanced, to please everyone, avoid conflict, always be kind, always be understanding, always be polite. You learned early on, being a good person was the right thing to do, that the good win in the end, that if you're kind, others will be kind in return, that being fair, honest, and humble is enough, and the world will reward you. But what if I told you, that's a lie? A comfortable lie, designed to keep you well behaved, predictable, controllable. How many times have you stayed silent just to keep the peace? How many times have you erased yourself just to avoid disappointing someone? Let someone walk all over you, and still smiled, said, "It's all good." Swallowed your tears, your anger, your pride, all in the name of a supposed virtue that only made you invisible. Listen carefully. The world doesn't reward the nice. The world rewards the strategic. In this video, you'll learn the truth behind the nice guy myth, why kindness without boundaries gets you crushed, and how to think like Machiavelli, so you can move through life like a chess master, not a pawn. If you're watching this, chances are, you already feel it deep in your gut. You've played the role. The nice guy. The dependable friend. The endlessly understanding partner. You kept your voice calm. Your needs quiet. Your boundaries flexible. And what did you get in return? Dismissed. Ignored. Used. The more you tried to be accepted, the less you were respected. The more you gave, the more people took. And worst of all, the more you tried to be good, the less you were valued. This is the hidden tax of being too nice. Because in the real world, niceness without strength isn't seen as virtue. It's seen as weakness. People don't admire it. They exploit it. That's where Machiavelli enters the picture. Not as a villain, but as a truth teller. He wasn't preaching cruelty. He was revealing how the world really works beyond the fairy tales. He understood something brutally honest. Trying to be loved by everyone is the fastest way to be used by everyone. Being good without being strategic makes you vulnerable to those who are not. So if you're tired of being the guy who's always there for everyone else, but never seen, never heard, never chosen, then it's time to wake up, to unlearn the lies. Still think the world truly values good people? Take a look around. Who rises to the top? Who gets the admiration, the influence, the seat at the table? Is it the most generous? The most selfless? The kindest soul in the room? Or is it the one who knows how to speak powerfully, move strategically, and never let their emotions be used against them? It's uncomfortable. It's ugly. But it's real. The world doesn't run on kindness. It runs on utility. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince as a blueprint for cruelty. He wrote it to lift the veil, to show the cold, mechanical logic that powers society. One of his most uncomfortable truths? Being good in a corrupt system doesn't guarantee anything, except being taken advantage of. You can show up every day with your heart wide open. You can be the one who listens, who sacrifices, who never asks for recognition. But the moment you stop serving someone else's interest, you become disposable. Because the world doesn't weigh your worth by your values. It measures it by your value. What you bring to the table. What leverage you hold. How difficult you are to replace. And this isn't a call to abandon kindness. It's a call to combine it with power. Because kindness without strength is currency without value. It makes you feel good, but it gets you nowhere. Stop trying to earn your place through virtue alone. The world isn't keeping score. It's making calculations. And if you want to stop being used, you need to start being useful, on your own terms. Nice guys always chasing, always explaining, apologizing, justifying their existence, hoping that if they're kind enough, patient enough, giving enough, they'll finally be seen, chosen, respected. But look around. Who actually commands the room? It's not the guy who bends over backward to please. It's the one who walks in with certainty, who doesn't beg for permission to speak, who doesn't fear saying no. Here's the brutal truth. Blind kindness gets mistaken for weakness. When you never set limits, when you never get angry, never push back, never risk tension, you don't come off as virtuous. You come off as soft, replaceable, convenient. You stop being a person. You become a tool. Pleasant to have, easy to toss, and people can sense it. If there are no consequences for mistreating you, then mistreating you becomes easy. Machiavelli didn't say be a tyrant. He said, if you cannot be loved and feared, then it is better to be feared. Because fear isn't about cruelty. It's about consequence. It's about sending a signal. I am not to be walked over. I am not a doormat. Respect doesn't grow from your good intentions. It grows from your presence, from the perception that you can act, and that you will act when your line is crossed. If you live to be liked, you'll be forgotten the moment you stop pleasing others. Not because you're a bad person, but because people don't value what they don't fear losing. Stop trying to be the nicest person in the room. Start being the one they know not to underestimate. Let's go deeper. Where does this compulsive need to please come from? Because behind your kindness, there's something else. Something that's been sabotaging you for years. You weren't born a people pleaser. You were trained to be one. Since childhood, you were taught that love is earned, that approval comes at a cost. Forced smiles, swallowed opinions, abandoned desires. You were told, be nice. Don't talk back. Don't be difficult. And so, little by little, you became who others needed you to be, not who you truly are. And it worked. For a while. You avoided punishment. You gained approval. You kept the peace. But you lost yourself in the process. What no one told you is this. Constant pleasing is not kindness. It's a psychological prison. A cage built out of fear, reinforced by guilt. You learned that pleasing brings love. That anger brings rejection. So you adapted, just to survive. But over time, that adaptation became submission. Now, you can't say no without guilt. You feel responsible for everyone else's comfort, even when it destroys you inside. You forgive too fast. You explain too much. You tolerate too long. All in the name of kindness. But this isn't kindness. It's fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of being unloved. Fear of being seen as a bad person. You've mistaken fear for empathy. You've mistaken fear for compassion. You've mistaken fear for virtue. And until you see it for what it is, you'll keep calling your cage a sanctuary. And that fear, it wears a mask. A mask you now call kindness. But that mask is suffocating you. If you don't take it off, it'll become your identity. One day, you'll look in the mirror, and you won't recognize yourself. But there's a way out. And to find it, we go back to the master of perception, Machiavelli. He understood what most people still don't. People don't act based on your goodness. They act based on your power. He wrote, everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. In other words, it doesn't matter how pure your heart is. If you seem weak, you'll be treated as weak. If you don't inspire respect, you'll be ignored. So, what do? Machiavelli says, the prince must be both a fox and a lion. A fox to spot the traps. A lion to scare off the wolves. Not one or the other, both. The fox is perceptive. The lion is powerful. Together, they command respect. So ask yourself, do you want to be liked? Or do you want to be respected? The virtue Machiavelli speaks of isn't about being agreeable. It's about being effective. Sometimes being respected means being cold, not cruel, strategic, clear, strong. He writes, "A man who tries to be good in all circumstances will be ruined by those who are not good." And you know this. You've lived this. You've been the good guy in a world full of wolves. And it left you hurt. This isn't about losing your values. It's about stopping others from using your values against you. Machiavelli wasn't cynical. He was honest. He knew, in a world ruled by appearances, weakness disguised as virtue is a death sentence. But maybe you're wondering, isn't there a balance? Do I have to become cold to stop being naive? And the answer is, no. There is a middle path. And it begins with this: the strength to stop pretending.